Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It's Mother's Day. If you're watching this on time, and if you're not, I hope you had a good Mother's Day. Hey, welcome to this week's live Mailbag Show. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today, so I want to dive right into it with a couple of things. First, want to congratulate everybody. Hey Dylan, want to congratulate everybody who did the homework last week. I have not seen, only 1 week before did somebody do more homework than last week, so phenomenal. If you all don't remember, we got into a bunch of stuff. You can check it out there. So it was great to be able to give a lot of things away. Still got some more Facebook swag. Still got a couple more spots open in the Slack, which you can be able to 50% off if you do this week's homework. Got a new ebook out, brand new. So it's basically, I think it's 10 or 12 of my like daily best practices as a 7-figure Facebook DR advertiser. No guru shit. Just go and fucking get it. It's on the Patreon. It's fucking free. Go get it, right? Or do the homework and I'll give it to you for free. Yeah, right? Like that's what this is all about. I'm looking on the phone right now to make sure I cover everything that I said that we were going to get into this week, because I asked you all how to make the group better, and I had some great suggestions. One of them was to do polls and to kind of help do stuff like that. So I started doing that, and y'all have been really helpful in giving me some answers on the polls. So now I know really what to cover that's going to really fucking crush it for you. So first thing we're going to get into is this week's homework, so you know what you can do this week to get some free shit. And then we're going to get into a lot of the stuff this week. So let's just get right into that. So first bit, the homework this week is rather easy. We're going to kind of cover back to something that we've done before, but this one is going to be the simplest homework that we have, and it's because I want you to understand the funnel at a high level that I want you to do this. So this is going to be a custom column set inside of Facebook so that you can see and a very rudimentary version of the Scrum doc, okay? So what we need is the custom columns. We need at the campaign level. We don't care about beyond the campaign level. That's not what's most important for your account today at a high level, because you're not going to be managing at that level. So what we want to do is take, hi Elliot, what we're going to do is we're going to set our custom columns, right? We're going to do campaign name. So I'm trying to do this so that it works. So campaign name, then amount spent. Then we're going to do website purchases, and then purchase conversion value. And then outside of that, we want a couple more things, okay? What we want is cost per view content, cost per add to cart, cost per purchase. That's it, okay? And then we want to go up to the top up here and hit breakdown and hit day. And then above it, go up here, last 30 days. And so then you should see this huge breakout of everything. You're going to export that shit, all right? Now what we want to be able to see is each campaign side by side when you export it. And you want to be able to see day by day over your campaigns. And what you're going to do here, by the way, so you get your data, right? And it's going to be this real messy long sheet. That's fine. What I want you to do is take whatever it is, April 7th or 10th or whatever, it's 30 days ago. Copy that and then put it on the left-hand side, and then set your columns for each of your campaigns you got out. So say you've got a prospecting, retargeting campaign, right? So it's 2 campaigns. So the first campaign, prospecting, is going to be your name, right? So it's going to be the prospecting campaign, and then spend, purchases, value, cost per view content, cost per add to cart, cost per purchase. If you want to overachieve, you can use CPMs as well. We'll get into that another time. But I want you to do that and layer them side by side, right? Now, this is essentially what the Scrum Doc is, but it's going to be a very easy entry-level way of doing it. You can do this in 10 minutes. And what I want you to do from this, if you do that alone and just send me a screenshot of the top of the thing saying that, hey, look, I've even set my columns up. I'll do it that way. If you set it that way, And all you have to do is send me a screenshot of your columns set up like that with a breakdown by day over the last 30 days, just a screenshot of Facebook. And I don't need your data. You can literally crop it out so it's just the top. If you do that, I'll give you any ebook or 50% off the Slack room right away, okay? The reason that this is important is you want to be able to see trends over days. Is your prospecting campaign always struggling? What happens when you spend more on the prospecting to retargeting? And then what you also want to see ultimately is your media mix between how much are you spending on retargeting? How much are you spending on prospecting? If you spend up in prospecting, does your retargeting go up? Does it not go up? What's the optimal mix on a day where you hit goal? And this is the big thing. On a day where you hit your goal, say your goal is a 1.5 and you're struggling between a 1.3 and a 1.6. Let's say you hit a day where it's a 1.6. How much of your money was spent on retargeting versus prospecting? In addition to that, how much did it cost you to make a sale on prospecting? So if you know, hey, if I'm spending 40% of my money on retargeting and my prospecting comes in at, say your goal is $20, so prospecting comes in at 25. I know that every time that happens, I am profitable. Like I am above goal profitable, guaranteed every fucking time. Now you've got a goal that you can put in stone. You can etch it on the fucking wall, carve it into the popcorn in the ceiling, however you want to do it. I suggest not tattooing it on your arm, but if you want to, you can. The point is, by the way, this is cold brew from Gelson's. Highly recommend it. It's $6 to fill this fucking 32 fluid ounce growler. That is EV plus living right there. Anyway, if you do that, you'll be able to etch in stone what your business needs to do to succeed, right? So then you can say, okay, every day I need to make sure that my prospecting is coming in at a 25 and my retargeting is spending at least 40% of my money. You're gonna be able to map out your entire digital strategy with doing this, and it'll take you 15 fucking minutes. I guarantee if you do that, it'll at least get you started down the right path, and then you can take into effect all of the other things we're talking about, right? We're gonna get, and for what we're talking about today, we're getting into, let's see if we can do it, a deep dive into retargeting, how to execute conquesting via arbitrage, and the top 3 best practices for CBO. None of this matters if your media mix is wrong. And if it's right, then this shit will put you into the fucking black, right? So that's what we're gonna do today. That's our main focus, okay? So number one thing, set up your columns, okay? And you can bullshit me, right? Just set them up, break down by day, last 30 days. At the campaign level, just take a screenshot of that, any ebook you want, or 50% off into the Slack channel. Or even that, like, I've got, if y'all want it, I've got some like Facebook swag, right? I've got a couple like pop socket things and some whatever. I'll give you a fucking care package. You let me know what it is that you want, okay? I've got a bunch of stupid shit lying around, right? Things that whatever. Let me make it worth your while for you to spend 5 to 10 minutes to set something up to let me give you anything you want. And if you were to spend the 10 or 15 minutes after that, you're going to fundamentally know your business better than you do right now. And you will be able to, at a glance, understand clear benchmarks that are going to define success for you. Now, instead of trying to make Facebook work, you're saying, I need my retargeting to spend 40% of my ad spend. And I need my prospecting to make me 1.25. I need that. If I get that, I know that I'm going to make money every fucking day. Now you've got 2 problems to solve every day, and that's it. Everything else is a means to an end to solve those 2 problems, and you're going to be fucking making money. And if you know how to solve those problems and you can do it, then you can ramp more money into it, and you can scale your fucking account. It's not, well, at the end of the day, I need to make X. It's, I know my retargeting needs to make X. I know my prospecting needs to be selling for Y, and I know that if I raise or lower my prospecting, what my effect on my retargeting is going to be. That entire conversation, that pro-ass, grade A, MBA, blah, 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 lots of letters and fancy shit conversation is something you can do today in 10 fucking minutes. And I highly stress that you do it. When I get brought on to people and they help me, and you know, when people ask me to help them, That's the first thing I do. The very first thing I do is I say, what does success look like for you? And then I map out their days on Facebook, at least, right? I want to very clear, what does success on Facebook look like? And then I map out their days and I see, well, these days they hit it, these days they didn't. What are the days that win have in common? What are the days that lose have in common? And what can I do to avoid every day that loses? If you knock down the days that lose, you're going to win more often, right? It's just getting rid of the bullshit. If you get rid of the bullshit in your life, you're going to be happy. Go make some fucking money. It's that fucking simple. Oh my God. I did not expect to go into all that tirade today. I had no idea that I was going to. Anyway, I've been up all night making fucking silk screens for band merch and shit. So I'm a little wired. Plus, this is the end of a 32-ounce growler of fucking cold brew. But y'all know I'm insane. So anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody. We had a bunch of new members in the group this week. So thank you very much to all the new members. And again, if this group means something to you, if these lives mean something to you, please invite a friend. And if you see me in another group posting shit, because I'm in there trying to provide value to every fucking buddy. I was looking back at what did I do to grow this group? And what did I do in the last 3 months that prevented me from doing that? Because I was so wrapped up in other things. And I was not, when I first started growing this group started because I was in a bunch of groups dropping knowledge and trying to provide value to the point where the people who selling scam fucking bullshit would kick me out because I was undermining their like sales funnel and their click funnel nonsense for outdated guru bullshit by giving legitimate advice that was up to present right now. I got away from that because I was trying to make this thing poppin'. And you know what? Now I've got this thing set. I've got this thing solid. We are getting ebooks every week. I owe a couple more things to you. I'm going to start going to ebooks. I'm going to start doing video reads through them. If anybody, by the way, has any software they think would be best for me to record the screen of myself while I'm walking through things, please let me know. I'll take all advice, right? And I'm asking advice for this is we got a great new search. I'm super excited. I got a big goal by the end of the summer for what we can do with this group, and I want to make it happen. So part of what I'm doing there is if you see me posting in another group, and it's stuff, by the way, what I post in the other groups is stuff that I posted in this group a fucking week ago. Those people in the other groups, they're going to be at least 3 to 5, maybe 7 days behind where everybody in here is. And I'm answering all your fucking questions. They're getting the shit that you guys find is valuable. They get it later. So if you see me posting in there, say, hey, this thing's, say nice things or say negative things about it if it's bullshit and call me out on it. So I stop fucking posting it and I answer those questions and then I don't look like a fucking douchebag. All right. So we can work together to provide as much value here, not undermining other folks, but we can provide enough value here so that everybody in this group is getting something out of it. And if you find that you need something else from me, you let me know. And if I can do it, I will do it for you. All right, let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. Now, I asked you guys during the week, who's using this, who's using that, what are your biggest problems, what are the things you'd like me to cover, all of this stuff. And I got several resounding pieces. So we're going to start off today with going into a deep dive into retargeting. We've covered this a bunch of times, but we got brand new members and, frequency is a big deal, right? Why do we have retargeting? It's because people don't buy on the first impression. And because if I tell you something once, it might take me 6, 7 more times for you to internalize it. That's just psychology. You need to hear something 7 to 8 times before you internalize it. And you might have missed something before. So let's get into it right now. And then we're going to cover how to execute conquesting via arbitrage. We're going to wrap up today with one of my favorite topics, which is the top 3 best practices of CBO. Hint, hint, by the way, hi, Yusa. I'm working with the Facebook marketing team on the Disruptor Pod right now on potentially developing best practices for the CBO. I'm actually meeting with, on Tuesday or Wednesday, the engineering and members from the measurement team and folks with like a lot of letters after their name because of all the fucking titles. We're making some shit happen. I'm fucking stoked. It's the bucket-based CBO. It's the creative concept testing. And it's the kind of shit we've been talking about in here are going to be taught to the reps. Thank you. So, deep dive into retargeting. Let's start off very quickly with a couple of basics. Number one, your retargeting should be exclusive, right? So what I mean by that is any audience that you are retargeting should be excluded from your prospecting. If you are retargeting people that have abandoned cart in the last 7 days, probably the most common retargeting audience. One of the most common retargeting audiences. If you're not doing that, do it right now. Don't pause this thing. Wait till the end. Make a little note. Whatever. Go back and do that. Add the cart 7 day, right? If you are retargeting that audience, you should be excluding it from all of your prospecting campaigns. Essentially, you don't want somebody to be available to be in a prospecting campaign and in a retargeting campaign. No one should be in more than eligible for one part of the funnel. And when you're retargeting, nobody should be eligible for more than one audience, okay? So if that makes sense. That's a very rudimentary level, but I want to strike that home, is that anybody in your retargeting audience should not be eligible for your prospecting, okay? Now, outside of that, let's get into some of the pieces inside of retargeting. I'm going to start from the bottom of the funnel, because the bottom of the funnel is the most qualified, the hottest lead. This is the motherfucker that has got their credit card in their hand, and for whatever reason, they didn't buy yet. So you need to push them across the finish line. In Facebook, the lowest you can get, depending on how your store is set up, is the payment added or initiate checkout level. So I target this level all the time. I highly recommend that you target this level all the time. And for this level, because it's the smallest audience, it might be a couple dozen or a couple hundred people a day. You can have this audience be broad. And by broad, I mean the time window, right? It's not in the last 1 day. Maybe this is the last 7 days or the last 14 days. The point is, these are folks who are super fucking interested in your product, and for whatever reason, they didn't buy. Now, in my best advice, I would say that this audience is best targeted between 7 and 14 days max. After that period of time, you're starting to get into the psychology of that person has made the decision to not buy from you. And essentially all you're doing is you're spending more money to tell that person that you don't know what you're doing and that you don't care, and you're annoying them, thus reducing the possibility of them coming back to your store. Now, I say 7 to 14 days because you need that frequency, right? Like maybe there was a reason the person didn't get there. They might have, a lot of times what happens is, and I see this all the time, especially when people have really complex like click funnels and all this stuff. By the way, if you're in there, do the best you can to get the fuck out. Anyway, my own advice, whatever, you can do whatever you want. I would just much rather control the funnel. If the buying process is complicated, or if you provide a lot of pre-transactional options, right? Colors, upgrades, whatever. Variants and upgrades and stuff like that. If you do that, what you do is you confuse the buyer, right? So it's like if somebody were to say, okay, they're checking out of the grocery store, right? And there's the fucking impulse buy, they pick up a bag of M&Ms, and you're like, great, those are M&Ms. Would you like a king or single? Okay, I'll take this. Okay, and which flavor do you want? Okay, now do you want, like, by the time you ask the third, the fourth, the fifth question, sometimes people are like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm done. Also, the more options you give somebody, the longer the process is to buy, the more likely that person is to be less impulsive and just start to shop around. When that person starts to shop around, you're going to lose them. And this is where a lot of the add to carts, initiate checkouts, and the payment ads, like this is where a lot of people get lost, is they're very interested. But before they hit buy, before they complete the transaction, they start to say like, okay, now I know what my cost is. Let me go shop around. And that's very common. We all fucking do it. If you're not doing it, then you're probably wasting money on the internet. So you need to be top of mind for that person so that every time they log back in, you are showing your product to them, because unless they made a purchase, they're still in the buying market. And the odds are if they were shopping around, there's somebody that probably hasn't made that purchase today. People that shop around don't buy right away. Those are the people that you want to have. So Being open to them for 7 to 14 days means that it's extraordinarily unlikely that they're not going to see you. Now, because of the size of the audience being small, and because of the level of intent being very high, what you want to do is make sure that you're showing your ads to as many of those fucking people as often as fucking possible every fucking day. Now, to do this, we need to use impressions as our goal. Now, you see a lot of times conversion campaigns are set for conversion, right? I want to make a sale. I'm going to optimize this for conversion, which makes most fucking sense most of the fucking time. But for somebody this far down in the funnel, you know that you want to show your ad to every single one of them or as many of them as fucking possible. Optimizing for impressions means that you're just saying, I'm willing to do anything I can to make sure I'm in this person's newsfeed as often as fucking possible. Hey, Ian, how you doing? So then if you are in the newsfeed as often as fucking possible, the person trying to make the buying decision is likely to see you as often as fucking possible. Ubiquity is legitimacy. The more often they see you, the more likely they are to buy from you. So then, because that person's right on the edge, if you're using an impression, which is at the very bottom, right, when you're making your ad set, do the impression piece, and that'll make sure that you are trying to get the largest amount of frequency and share of voice, meaning that you don't care if somebody's a likely buyer or an unlikely buyer. They're that far down the fucking funnel. They're probably going to buy. You just need to be in front of them. When you optimize for conversion, you're telling Facebook, show my ad to the person most likely to make a purchase. And Facebook is looking at, well, who else has bought stuff off of Facebook ads? How likely has this person, what is their likelihood to make a purchase? You know, so it's not only do they buy from ads, but when was the last time they bought from an ad? How much do they buy? Do they buy other products like, you know, black box, a million fucking pieces of data? We don't want that. We want to be in that motherfucker's face every time they log in. And the only way to do that is with impressions. So initiate checkout, payment ad, at that level, impressions, 7 to 14 days. Above that is the add to cart level. Now the add to cart, I highly recommend, if you can ever do it, add to cart one day. Now, add to cart one day, if you don't have a lot of volume, might be essentially the same thing as initiate checkout. And I often recommend that's another place where you use impressions for the same reason. And what it means is somebody that has added an item to their cart in the last day but did not purchase. You want to be in their face every fucking time they open their phone. And this is you just stalking that motherfucker until they make the buy. And why is this important? You might have shown somebody an ad, or you might have seen, somebody might have been to your store in like at breakfast, right? And then they're like, oh fuck, this is interesting, but I got to go to work. Or maybe they're in the fucking elevator at lunch or some shit. That person might be somebody that makes a decision to purchase in bed at night. Now, you need to be in front of that person's feed all day. So they saw your ad in the morning. Okay, that's cool. They're at lunch. They're like, oh, yeah, there's that thing. I want to make sure that I'm doing that thing. I go to the site. I add the card on. I can't buy it right now. Then you go to the night. They load up their phone again. Boom, it's there. Oh, fuck. You know what? I saw this thing all day. I was thinking about the thing. Buy. That's a buying process that takes up a large fucking portion of the public. And you need to be there for that. And the way you be there for that is by making sure that your add to cart one day is set to impressions. Now, this is the same whether or not it's DPA or non-DPA. Now, if you're using DPA ads, impressions isn't an option. In DPA ads, the best you can do is what's called daily unique reach. And what that means is you're going to try to reach every single person at least once every single day. And this is why I highly recommend using dynamic and non-dynamic ads. The non-dynamic ad is showing somebody the number one product that you want somebody to buy. Hey, Andrew. So the non-dynamic ad is showing somebody your number one selling product. Why is anybody coming into your store? It's for that fucking thing, right? Like when I go to El Compadre, I'm going there for a fucking quesadilla, right? And that's it. That's the reason I fucking go there, right? If I go to Five Guys, I'm getting a fucking bacon cheeseburger with fries and a chocolate shake. That's why I'm there. So figure out what is the reason somebody gives a fuck about your store. What is your number one selling product that's got the lowest barrier to entry that everybody's willing to buy? You show them that thing in a non-dynamic ad, and then you show them a dynamic ad that shows them every option. So now your non-dynamic ad is showing on impressions. You are in that person's feed showing them the fucking slam dunk product, right? Converse, if you do this for them, you will be served with a Chuck Taylor all-star high top ad all fucking day because that's the product they sell. That is their number one fucking thing. And so then they also show you a DPA of all the best-selling products and all of the sales that they've got going on. Hey, Stuart, how you doing? Yeah, so that's the way that you need to do it. And really, your non-dynamic ad should help you stabilize to get your CPA as low as possible because you're optimizing towards that. Whereas your dynamic ad is trying to close up as many conversions of anything else. And this is going to really help you with your higher priced offers because you're allowing people to see everything, right? And your non-dynamic ad is best served if it's your lowest cost offer or if it's your best upsell. Those two things. So one of them essentially is to try to clear as much inventory as possible at the lowest CPA. The other one is to try to get the highest AOV. Now you pick one. I like non-dynamic being my low CPA, dynamic being my highest AOV. You can swap that if you want to. There's no reason one way or the other. I'm just saying what I'm currently doing for whatever fucking reason. Price control, right? That's it. So anyway, you're at add to cart one day. We're hitting that person up as much as fucking possible. We've got a dynamic ad that's showing them daily unique reach of a product carousel, and you're optimizing out your best carousel ads. And then you've got a non-dynamic, ad that's showing them impressions. So you're in the feed all the fucking time. So that person's seeing not only your best fucking flagship product, but they're seeing all of your products as well. So you are in that motherfucker's feed until they make a decision whether or not to fucking buy from you. Now, one day means you're going to be in that person's feed all day for one day. After one day, we can go out to the 7 days or 14 days. I find that any retargeting audience that's more than like 14 days tends to not be very effective. And it's because you're spending money to reach people that have already made a decision not to buy from you, right? And add to cart 10 days, somebody that added their product to cart and left it a week and a half ago. It's Sunday today. I'd be eligible for that if I abandoned something in my cart Thursday of like 2 weeks ago. If you're still showing me that ad, 9 times out of 10, I've made the decision that I don't want to buy from you for whatever it is, price, product, value, even my impulsiveness of even being interested in that product to begin with, whatever it is, I've made the decision not to buy from you. If you show me an ad, add to cart 30, for the next 20 days, you're spending money trying to get me, trying to convince me to make that purchase. I don't care. And what you've essentially done is you're spending a lot of money on wasted impressions for people that don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your product. They don't want to buy from you. You need to stop showing it to them. So I don't find that retargeting audiences beyond that timeline are really worth it when they have a level of intent. A level of intent is defined as anything that initiate checkout, payment ad, add to cart, or view content. Now, view content, it means that somebody's been to a product page. This is the step above add to cart. But before we jump out to there, add to carts, once you get to 7 days or anything over 1 day, I find the best thing is really optimize towards conversion. You've already spent money on this person. You're already trying to get this person. Just show it to the people that are most likely to make a purchase from you. And I really love the idea of dynamic and non-dynamic, and you can balance those. Maybe your dynamic is still on daily unique reach and your non-dynamic is set to conversion. You can mess around with those things. But you need to be thinking about it, like, what is the story? What is the consumer journey with my product? And does it make sense for me to show it to them all the time? At some point, impressions is wasting money because you're getting a lot of frequency against people that probably aren't that interested. The longer you get away from the initial action that puts somebody in that retargeting audience, the further away from that person being interested that you are. That is a terrible fucking sentence. What I mean is, if somebody added something to the cart 10 days ago, they're far less likely to be interested in your product than if they did it yesterday. So you need to make sure that you're giving priority to the people that are the hottest leads, right? And that's really what it comes down to. So I don't know, there's a fucking drawer here that I didn't know. I'm on a weird table. So yeah. So outside of add to cart is view content. Now these are people that have been to your website. They're looking at a product. For whatever reason, they didn't really add to cart yet. They're not as interested. They haven't made the effort they have not made the effort to add something to cart. So they're window shoppers. Now these folks are your least qualified. These people are less qualified than your initial checkouts and your add to cart. But they're still more qualified than a lot of other folks, but they're the least qualified individuals that have actually seen a product. I would consider these, in a real life example, these are the people that have been in your store. They've picked up the product. They're looking at it. Like I've been to the shelf. I'm like, oh, a growler. I'm thinking maybe this is a good idea. I don't know if I want to spend $6 on a week's worth of, or morning's worth of coffee. I don't know yet, right? Like I'm just thinking about it. This is cool. I don't know, right? So this is. I haven't made the decision, but I'm not putting it in my cart, right? So I've picked it up. I know what it is. I've checked it out, but I'm not interested enough to put it in my shopping cart. These are folks who you want to make sure that you're in their feed, but you only really want to show ads to the people likely to make purchases. And that's because these are lower qualified individuals. These people on their own are likely to maybe come back to your store. They're going to still see ads from you. They know what your store is. They can go back there on their own. But they haven't shown a level of intent. So these are folks where the impressions piece only really makes sense at one day if you have a high volume store. Outside of that, I would highly recommend to not do anything other than conversion, and I wouldn't go more than 7 days. And that's because I might not give a fuck. I might have accidentally found your thing. I might have just been wasting fucking time, but I did not show a level of intent enough to add the cart. Now, we would love to show these people the ads all fucking day. The problem is the profitability of giving this branded message to those people decreases over time. And where you can spend money in prospecting to reach a new person and potentially get a new customer, somebody that's already been in your store and has made the decision to not buy, no matter how much money you spend against that person, they're not going to make a purchase. Hey, Eden. So the money is better spent getting new people into your store than retargeting somebody that viewed a product page a week and a half ago that never added to cart and never came back in. So these folks, at some point you drop them off. I have found success going out to 14 days. I've never really found success going out to 30 with them. But it's up to you, and it really depends on your media mix, because what's right for you is different than what's right for me or anybody else here. If it's a product that takes a high amount of consideration, a longer period of time makes more sense. If it's like a subscription product, or if it's a high dollar item, or if it's a lifestyle change type product, if you have to convince somebody about what you're doing, like, for instance, say it's an app that you download to your phone and you have to pay for a year in advance, you can show that person that ad for like a month, right? If it's a fucking car. When I used to run Nissan, I'd show somebody that ad until I was blue in the fucking face, because my conversion price is like $30,000. I could spend $100 a person and it was fine. Now, spending $100 a person on Facebook is ridiculous. $100 for 1,000 people was fine. Because I was just trying to get motherfuckers into test drives, right? My number one goal, show them this new Nissan Sentra 2015 or whatever, and then get them into a test drive at a dealership. That was my fucking sales funnel. That's the piece that I played in that. But if you're selling a fucking, a fucking growler, right? If you spend $20 trying to sell me this fucking growler, you will lose money before I even make the purchase, right? So at some point, your money isn't profitable trying to convince that person to buy anymore. Now, above that, you basically have what's called WCA or site traffic. These folks, I find you can hit them up all the time. These are essentially a prospecting audience. I think they're the highest level retargeting. These folks you can leave open. I've run them out 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days. These people been in your store. They know who you are. Don't spend a lot of money against them. But if you are running a lot of media off of Facebook and you want to make sure that you're staying in somebody's ecosystem, it makes sense to make sure that this audience is on. I never really turn it off, but I never really invest a lot of money into it. Now, if my focus here is to just be top of mind to people that have never really have never been to the view content to the add to cart level, or that I've moved out of that window, I'll run an impression campaign against them. And maybe do like 10, if my media budget's $100 a day, I'll spend $5 a day serving people that have been to my site in the last 60 days. I'll spend $5 a day on impressions, and I'll manually bid my CPM so that I can get the lowest cost per 1,000 impressions. And I'll just make sure that I'm showing that thing to a couple hundred people a day for fucking months, right? Because the likelihood of somebody clicking on that ad and going to my store means that they've now shifted from my site traffic down to view content or an add to cart or even initiate checkout, or they purchased. Because also remember, as soon as somebody takes an action, because you're excluding down, somebody can jump from different level to different level inside of the retargeting. If I'm in a site traffic and I've been there for like a month and I click on an ad and I go to a product page, I'm immediately now in the view content 1 day. Now, if I don't take that action, then I move out to the view content 7-day audience. And if I then click on an ad and I add to cart, now I'm in the add to cart 1-day audience. Now say maybe I don't take the action, but I see an ad for the next few days, and then boom, and now I'm in the add to cart 7-day audience, I click it, I add in my credit card, and then I start shopping around. Now I'm in the initiate checkout or the payment ad audience, right? And I'm in that payment ad audience for 7 to 14 days, maybe day 7 of that. You've been serving with ads, I've been shopping around. It's fucking Saturday again. I'm like, oh yeah, or it's Sunday again. I'm like, oh, I do want that thing. That's exactly what it is. And I haven't really thought about it because my work week was whatever the fuck. Boom, I saw the ad, I'm gonna make a purchase. Now that is an extraordinarily common user journey that takes like a week and a half or 2 weeks to go through. And that's somebody's journey from prospecting through your website retargeting, through the view content, through the add to cart, through the initiate checkout, and shows the value of them. And if you're not hitting them through there, you're going to miss out on that person. And the honest truth is that person represents a majority of your customers. So, also, last piece, we talked about exclusions. Exclude your add to carts from your view contents. Exclude your view contents from your site traffic. But make sure that the timelines make sense. Don't exclude an add to cart 1 day from your view content 7 day. Don't exclude add to cart 7 day from your view content right? Like, make sure the time makes sense. So that if somebody added to cart 5 days ago and they're still in that add to cart audience, that's great. They don't need to be in your view content audience. But it's just, I'm not going to go through it too much. I think I kind of caffeinated myself up. I'm going to abandon that. Hopefully it makes sense. Exclude your way up, okay? So that nobody can be in more than one audience at any given time, and make sure that the profit margin you're getting off of those people pays for it. We talked in the very beginning about the homework at the campaign level to see how much money you need to be spending and what your return is. This is a way for you to, if you need to increase the amount of money inside of your retargeting, it needs to take up a larger portion of your media mix. Adding these audiences in is one way of increasing your spend. Also, if you go from a conversion to an impression objective, you can be able to spend more money against that audience. Immediately, Facebook will spend more. So again, if you need to get your retargeting over 40% of your media and you don't know how to do it, you're like, well, I've got all these things. I can't force more people into there. I mean, you can, but with the media mix, what you can do is take your 1 days and turn them from conversions to impressions. Inevitably, what will happen is you might make less money on those sales, but you might make an extra few sales. Your profit margin on them is lower, but instead of spending money in prospecting where you may or may not be making a sale, you're spending more money in retargeting where you're making more sales, right? So you're sacrificing efficiency for volume, but you know if you get 40% retargeting, that you're making money. That's one half of your equation. That piece is in check. So then all you need to do is worry about your prospecting. Like, what can I do to get my prospecting ad to perform at a certain level? Then you get your media mix in place, and then you're making money every day, or most days, because we're not looking at it every day. We're looking week over week, days over days is a way to fucking drive yourself insane. Don't look intraday. Anyway, next piece. That's our deep dive into retargeting. I hope it was really fucking helpful. I love doing that shit. Anyway, let's move on to the next piece. Conquesting via arbitrage. Now, this is one thing that takes a little bit more effort. So we're going to go over the automated way first, and then you can take that and be like, oh, I could do that manually as well. Now, one of the ways that I love to do this the most is through our fun friend Instalex that we've talked about a couple weeks ago. This is an Instagram tool. And so basically what we want to do is say this. I'll use the analogy I always use. McDonald's is the only fast food restaurant that researches locations. Everybody else puts themselves close to a McDonald's, okay? So your competitors have already done the hard work of finding customers, okay? So I'm going to teach this tool inside of Instagram, but you can easily do it anywhere else. Thanks, Oliver. You can easily do it on any other platform manually. There are ways to automate it in other ways, but I'm just going to show you the concept, and then you can, go back and figure out how to execute it, or ask me how to execute it, and if you do it well, post it in the group so you can show other people how to do it, because we're all helping each other out. So on Instalex, right? So I'm just showing you my bands thing. If you look through here, what I've done is I've got models and I've got other brands. And then I'm looking into here for other bands, right? So there's a band, right? So what I'm doing, say this guy, Sam Valdez, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to his audience on Instagram and I'm liking his stuff and I'm commenting on his stuff and I'm following his followers and I'm viewing their stories. And I'm commenting on his follower on his things. So I'm looking at his followers. I'm going to his audience, and I'm liking their content. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. So I'm going to his followers, and I'm liking his followers' content. I'm commenting on his followers' stuff, and I'm following his followers, and I'm story. So the idea is, what I'm doing is I'm saying, he's already taken the effort. I think it's a he. It might be a she. I don't know. It's a Sam. They have already, hey Jared, they have already taken the effort to curate an audience. So what I'm doing is I'm going around to their audience and I am shaking everybody's hand. And I'm hanging flyers on their front door and his audience's neighborhood, right? So I'm going in, and this is what's called conquesting, is I'm taking his audience. I'm going to try to make it my audience. Now this is something back in the day, I brought this brand, Persil, it's a laundry detergent brand, to America. What we did is we went after everybody that was buying Tide, right? So we went after everybody that was engaging on Tide's tweets and on their Instagram, and everybody that was buying Tide from the store, because we had, at the time available credit card data. You can't do it now because of the whole election nonsense and, foreign powers and whatever else that I'm not going to get into today. But using data for malicious purposes is now restricted the ability for us to use consumer credit card data to target audiences. But anyway, what we were doing was we were saying we're not going to just try to find any woman in America, because women make the buying decisions in the home, especially for domestic things. We're going to say, who's buying our biggest competitor? Let's go to them and just show them a discount for us. Say you buy Tide for $15. We're going to buy one, get one free for $10 for our product to any Tide buyer. We're literally standing outside the Tide store and saying, hey, I know you're interested in this. Will you spend less, get twice as much for us, and just try it once? You're in a rush, you want to save money, you're adventurous, whatever the fuck, you don't have very strong brand loyalty, whatever it is. We got people to try ours, and then we got a fucking Super Bowl ad. It was fucking rad. I got to be involved in the Super Bowl ad. That was crazy. But you need to do that for your brand, right? So we go off and I don't know where he's at. Oh, he's taking a nap. So Morrison, yeah, I'm talking about you, dog. So Morrison's dog food. If we have Morrison dog food brand, what I would do in that case is type into the Instalex tool, Purina, Puppy Chow, all the other dog food brands. And I'm going to engage with all of their followers, all of their actively engaged people. And I'm just going to show them what I'm doing. And I'm going to show them my Instagram account. Now, in addition to that, I will also direct message. You can automate with the Instalex tool, direct message them with a link, right? So direct message them with the link to your chatbot, where you create a customer experience, where you provide a discount, and you can also broadcast to them later. Now somebody, just because they've responded, because they've shown themselves to be a fan of your competitor, is seeing all of your content. And you are making direct efforts not to turn somebody into a buyer of your type of product, but to turn somebody who is a non-loyal customer of your competitor into a potential customer of yours. Amazon does this all the fucking time, and they are the gods of it. Have you ever noticed anytime you go onto Amazon, say you're buying fucking Energizer batteries. When you go onto Amazon, what's the first suggested thing? Is the Amazon brand thing of whatever it is that you're buying, whether it's toilet paper, paper towels, batteries, any fucking thing, right? I was on there today, and it was like trash bags and you know, whatever. So what they're doing is they're saying, we know this person wants this product. We know that they buy this product from us or from our competitor. Let's show them that product, same quality, same whatever, but better value. Now I'm buying the Amazon brand instead of the name brand. So you can do this too. Now, you can use the same thinking on Facebook, where you can go into, if your competitor has a community, or your competitor just postings on where people go onto their organic posts and comment or whatever, go in as your brand and direct fucking message them. How long would it take you if you spend 20 minutes a day as your brand's page on Facebook, direct messaging everybody that responded positively or negatively to your competitor's ads? You're going to crush. And how do you see those ads? Go to their website, add something to cart, and we'll just wait for the ad to come to you, and then blow the fuck up out of their comment section from your Facebook page, from your brand's Facebook page to everybody there. Just saying like, hey, I saw that you didn't like the fucking smell of the Tide thing. We got some shit right now. Buy one, get one free, and we got a 5-star guarantee. We got a 5-star rating. I want you to be happy, and I want you to save money. Buy our shit instead. Now, there's a sales pitch version of that for your product, and if you don't know what it is, that's okay. You should spend some time on it, but that's what you can do. And so for my band, which is the example that started this thing, what am I doing? I'm going to somebody else that's playing the same music festival as my band is, and I'm saying, hey, you're already going to this music festival, and you already like this person, which means that you probably like the kind of music that my band's playing, and you're in the same arena as my band, and you're in the same location and same venue, and you're already spending money to be there. Check me out. And if you like me, because you already like this guy, maybe you'll do something, right? And maybe you'll go and fucking buy one of these patches that I'm making and, you know, whatever else. So that's one way of doing conquesting via arbitrage, is it's better time spent than blowing yourself up on Facebook ads because you're micromanaging intraday nonsense because you don't know what your targets are, right? If you know what your targets are, it only takes you maybe an hour, 2 hours. I mean, I might be in an account with 30 fucking campaigns. I'm done by lunch looking at what I need to do with each campaign because I'm managing to long-term goals, and I know what my goal, I know what each objective needs to bring me because I've mapped it out, because I've done that simple exercise for the homework for this week that you can do in 10 fucking minutes, and you can get anything that I'm offering for free or 50% off to the Slack or some Facebook swag or whatever. Now that means that you could spend half an hour a day, an hour a day. How much would it, what would it do to your brand if you paid somebody $10 an hour to do this on an to do this as an entry-level basis? What if you grabbed some like 16-year-old kid or some college student to come by your place for 4 hours a day and you said, send out 1,000. Send out 1,000. Send out 400 today. Because you're copying and pasting, right? This is easy fucking shit. Then you're going to spend all of your time responding back to direct messages from people that are interested in buying from you. If your entire day is 2 hours managing your Facebook ads and then responding back to people that are interested in buying from your product, you're in a very, very different place than, oh, my Facebook ads don't work. I'm too scared to get onto Google and I don't understand these other third-party platforms. Please help. You're in a fundamentally better place, and it doesn't take you that long. And you can do it yourself really fucking quickly, whether you're a photographer, a band, somebody selling dog food, or cars. It's all there. The process works. Now, the last thing that we said we were going to talk about today was the top 3 best practices of CBO. Now, I told you I'm working on building out best practices. I've got some super secret sauce type shit that I'm working with Facebook. We're mapping the thing out. I'm meeting with the team. We've been marching down the CBO thing for 6 months together, and we've made some big breakthroughs together. So I want to discuss the top 3 best practices. And by discuss, what I mean is I'm going to mention these here. And what I would love is if you go into the comments section and start to converse about them, or maybe I can, like I think I've also released an ebook about CBO that gets into these things too. I really, really, really want you guys to start seeing CBO as your opportunity instead of your enemy. The fact that just as many people said, no, fuck that to CBO as said, I'm trying and it's crushing, shows me that it's something you guys want to do, but it's scary and it's a change. So let's get into the best practices of it from somebody that spends a fuck ton of money. I mean, honestly, I spend 5 figures on CBO a day. So let me tell you what I'm doing that can work down to $100 a day. Number 1, use the min and the max inside of your CBOs. Utilize those. If you just tell Facebook to spend your money however the fuck you want, it will. And it's going to look for the most opportunity. Hey, Andrew, great. Andrew says, I'll post my convo with my rep we went over last week. She's a great rep, killing with CBO and auto placement. Love it, Andrew. So number 1, use your mins and your maxes. You can use this to control the allocation of the spend. For easy math here, let's say you have $100 and you want to make sure that everything gets an even spend, and then you want to see where the scale opportunity is. You can say, well, I've got 4 ad sets and I got $100 budget. Set your minimum to 20. And then you're telling Facebook you have to spend 80 of the $100 this way, and you can spend the other 20 bucks however you want. That's going to provide me the best opportunity. Now, in effect, what you're doing is this is very much like back in the day where we would set an ad set budget to 20, and then maybe Facebook spends a little bit more, a little bit, whatever. What you're doing is you're saying it's the same thinking. Your minimum is basically where your ad set budget used to be before CBO. But you're also giving Facebook a set budget of opportunity, saying if you can kill it in other places with a few more bucks, here's another $20. Do what you think is best. Over time, Facebook will do it well. I can guarantee you that. As long as you don't fuck with it, Facebook will do that. The other thing is setting your max, saying, I want you to do whatever you want, but don't spend more than this in this one place. And again, we would know this because we've done our breakdowns and our Scrum docs and whatever else, the homework from today, for instance. And if you broke that down inside of it at campaign level, and you're saying, like, I know that this creative against this audience can only spend X amount a day before I lose money on it. Or I'm only willing to gamble X amount, whatever, right? So in that case, you can set a max. So in this case, again, say you've got $100 and 4 ad sets, and you've got 3 ad sets in there that are doing really well. And you're like, spend as much as you can against those 3, but there's a fourth one I'm testing, but don't spend more than $20 there a day. You can do whatever the fuck else you want, but don't spend more than $20 here. Set your max to 20. Now you're basically telling your salesman, which is Facebook, you're giving it some constraints, but you're saying do whatever you want, and that'll really constrain it. Sorry, Andrew's talking about stuff. Andrew says min is lowest cost of the bid cap, max equals target cost. No, Andrew, no. Very good question. That's not what I'm referring to. Actually, when you're inside of, and this is great. Thank you for asking. When you're setting up ad sets inside of a CBO campaign, in the targeting section, in the ad set edit window, there's a little blue set of script that says add spend limits or something like that. Add a spend limit to your ad set, something along those lines. If you click that, it opens up to a min and a max spend. So it's a daily min and a max spend for your ad sets. This is sort of a hidden tool, but it's in there, and I highly fucking recommend you use it. So this isn't a bid level. This is a budget level. So it's around the targeting section. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is, and I'm not going to film myself going through my ad account trying to find it, so you just stare at my ugly fucking mug. But it's in there. So over here, when you're building your ad set, it pops out from the screen. And you got your targeting, and then it's above the placement. So between the targeting and the placement section is a spot where you can click on it. If you look really closely, you'll see add spend limits. Yeah, Andrew, a lot of people haven't. I overlooked it a bunch myself. I had to fucking just stare at it, wired this fuck on some coffee, and I found this little hyperlink. It says add spend limit to ad set. You click on that thing, it opens up. You can set a minimum and a maximum budget per day for that ad set. You're not interrupting. Andrew says it's in the budget and schedule section. Great. Min and max budget in the budget section. Check it out. Highly fucking recommend. That's the #1 best practice. You have to be using that. And you'll know what those are. If you're transitioning a campaign from a non-CBO to a CBO, very easily you can just say, what was my daily budget before, and set that to your minimum. Or maybe go 10% below that and set that to your minimum, whatever. But that's one way of really utilizing the CBO to accomplish, to rein it in. So that it functions very similarly to how you're used to running Facebook ads. Your ad set budget, I recommend just take whatever your ad set budget was, knock it down a little bit, maybe 5, 10, 20%, and make that your minimum. Or your maximum, and push it up a little bit, depending on what your campaign goal, or fuck with the two. Hi, Shan. So that's #1. #2, in prospecting especially. I haven't seen it so much in retargeting, but that's a more qualified audience. In prospecting, do not add new creatives to existing CBO campaigns. And I know this is a pain in the ass, or existing CBO ad sets. What will happen inside of CBO campaigns when you add a new creative is Facebook will go in and try to spend all the money it can on the new creative, because it's trying to learn as much as possible, because you're adding a new thing. When you add a new thing into an ad set, Facebook sees it as prioritize this. So don't add new creatives into existing prospecting ad sets. When you do that, you will throw it completely the fuck off. Now, what you can do is create a new ad set that's the exact same targeting, set a max budget. Then you're saying, hey, Facebook, here's a brand new creative. You can't spend more than $20 a day on it, but try it out. Maybe do that a couple times. And then you're creative testing inside of a campaign that you already like. And now you're doing creative testing. Whichever one of those runs away, increase the max budget. Now you're scaling your winners. And ones that don't work, turn them off. Give them a couple days. If it doesn't work, turn them off. Now you're using your CBO to creatively test. and you're not destroying the performance of a good ad set by trying something new. So for instance, say you got a lookalike 1%, or a WCA 30 or something. Let's just go with the lookalike 1%. So you got a lookalike 1% ad set, and you love it, and you want to try a new creative. Don't throw that creative into your existing lookalike 1% ad set. Make a new one. Duplicate the targeting, everything inside of that campaign if you want. Drop in the new creative into the new guy. Set a max budget. Say, hey, Facebook, I love you. Try this new one out. Don't spend more on this while you're testing, because I can't afford you to move the spend away from this old one. I don't run into issues of share of voice conflicts where I can spend enough into any audience for the performance to suffer if I run like 3 or 4 of them. If I can't, you can't. Because I'm pretty sure I'm spending a fuck ton of money. I'm spending 7 figures a month. If you're not getting close to that, then don't worry about it. Also, side note, sub point to this, you cannot exhaust a lookalike audience. That is some poser, guru bullshit passed forth by people trying to sell you something. That's a lie. Number 3 best practice, and then after this we're going to go. Number 3 best practice. What I'd like to say here is something that's a bit, anyway, yeah. So the number 3 best practice for CBO is you need to understand that the life cycle of a CBO campaign is it's going to do great for the first few days, and then it's going to decline, and then it's going to come back. When it comes back, that's where it hits stability. The performance level after like a week or 10 days is what you can expect out of that campaign. Why does this happen? It happens because initially it's going after what it finds the lowest hanging fruit. It's going to crush, right? And then it gets enough conversions that it's going to try some things. It's like, okay, I know what my best selling customer is. I'm running out of them. Let me go try to find some more. It's going to make mistakes, and it's getting away from that hardcore low-hanging fruit to try to expand the breadth. So initial success, low-hanging fruit. It expands its breadth to try to make mistakes, to learn and find who the other best customers are. You lose performance. Then it defines who those people are, and it just starts targeting the best customers it can, and it kind of increases and levels off. That's the life cycle of a CBO. You cannot define success or failure of a CBO campaign in the first 7 to 10 days, unless it's a complete abject failure right out of the gate. So pat yourself on the back when you win. Don't jump off a bridge when it loses. Diversify a bit. When you're launching CBO, when you're transitioning from previous into CBO, launch a new one every day or every couple of days. Don't do it all at once. In this way, you have things going peaking at the same time you have things valleying, and then things are plateauing off. So your campaign, your account never sees too much volatility. Now, this might take a week, this might take a month. But that's the life cycle of a campaign, is roughly 7 to 10 days. You can use that after you start to see performance dip. That's where you can start to set your minimums or your maximums inside of your campaign, because inside of your ad set, because now this ad set can afford this spend or whatever, right? So you can start to allocate your dollars. You're basically telling Facebook auto placement, auto spend wherever possible. Then it learns, and then you can set your ad set budget. And your ad set budget here is either your min or your max, depending on how you're deciding to divide up that solution. Maybe you set 10 of them at a max budget, where you can say, I've got 10 ad sets inside of a campaign, max budget per is 20. It might spend 0, it might spend 20, but it's not going to spend more than $20 in any one of them. And that way you can kind of tell Facebook, hey, you're going to at least spend in 5 places, right? Or you can say, minimum spend on these 10 is 5. So they're going to at least get 5, and then you can spend the rest of it however you want. the problem you're trying to solve will be different. Those are the ways to use the min and the max. That's the life cycle. And don't inject new creative into existing ad sets because it will tank your performance. Anyway, coming up on an hour here. I'd be stunned how many of you made it through this whole thing. Hopefully you're skipping forward and whatnot. Thank you all very much. This week's growth was insane in the group. I want to show you this because it blew my mind. So if you're enjoying this group, please invite some friends. You know, I love it when more people come in. And I hope that you are getting a lot out of it. If you are getting a lot out of it, please invite a friend, one friend or two, and please be more active. You know, comment on things, ask questions, post stuff from your reps. You know, what's your wins, your losses, and do the homework. Get some free shit. But yeah, just a fun thing here. You see this big, huge spike? That is this week after the live. I posted a link to the live in a bunch of other groups, and we blew the fuck up. We got 50% more members this week than we did last week. That's fucking awesome. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you out there. Go crush some shit. I believe in you. You can do this. It's really fucking easy. And let me know if you have any trouble, because I'll probably crush it. Have a great week. Happy Mother's Day. Bye.